This week on The Government and You, are we playing politics with security?
You get the general feeling that we are not concerned with control, we are not concerned with stability, we are not concerned with economic viability. We are not concerned with the general consensus that should put the country at a trajectory where everybody would like to come to Nigeria, like to do business in Nigeria, tourism. Where did all these things go to?
Hello and a very warm welcome to you. This is The Government and You, and I am Itohan Olomo Agbodo. Yes, it is still our special season, which I like to call the season of the gathering clouds. We'll let you know what we'll be discussing this week after the break. Stay with us. You're welcome back. This is The Government and You. And this week, we're going to be talking about one major function of the government, security. Security is at the heart of everyone's affairs. Everyone going to school, going to work, going to market, whatever business endeavor citizens are engaged in, they need security. And that is one primary function of the government. And many scholars view it as the major function that every government should be able to perform. But we'll go on the streets now and get reactions from Nigerians on how they've been faring and their reactions to certain things happening in Nigeria. Stay with us.
When we say there is security, I don't think there is security because we don't have to. I can say there's no security because the security that we say we have, we don't even, it's not work for us. When you are going anywhere in this country, it's on your risk. Anything can happen to you at any time. So why are we saying we have security? For me, we don't have security. We don't have security. That's what I can say.
On the security of Nigeria, actually, Nigeria is a mess, and the security is actually nothing to talk about. If you give, for instance, now an incident that happened some days ago or some weeks ago at the BRT stand. Can you imagine a BRT driver being? I don't know. That's why it's just pathetic. Where is the security in the country there with that? It's very, very poor. Our government really needs to do a big work on the security of the country and make sure that the citizens can walk safe freely even at night. On a scale of 100, I can't even say like Nigeria's security system is just very, very poor. Very, very poor. Like on a scale of 100, I can just give it, I think, 10%. That's how bad the security of Nigeria is right now, the country. So it's something the government really needs to look into it.
I want to commend the present administration concerning the security of Nigeria, though we still have a lot of lapses here and there. But you can see in the last 1 year, government have been trying and has been improving on it. But they need to do more, especially concerning the bandits along Abuja, Kaduna Road, and other northern part of Nigeria. We need to work on that. And I believe that the security should do that. It's no more Boko Haram issue now. It's now concerning bandits. And these bandits, they have some powerful people at their back. They should learn to deal with those powerful forces so that there should be an improvement. That will bring an improvement. For example, what happened along Abuja to Kaduna Road, where train was ambushed. All those things are not supposed to happen. The security should be on alert, and they should do more on homegrown security, how to gather enough intelligence so that there will be an improvement in security of Nigeria.
Talking about the issue of security in this country, in Nigeria as a country, then how do you look at the issue of security as you're just trying to portray? The security, there's nothing to write home about. I just want to tell you sincerely that God is the security in this country. There is no answer of government that let me say, that take the security of people at heart in this country. So God is the security of this country. So I urge everybody to hold on to God seriously. Because let me tell you, I believe, I'm still on the Bible, and I believe in the Bible. So the Bible says in the book of Psalm chapter 34 verse 7, say the angels of the Lord encamp around those that fear him and deliver them. So what is happening in Nigeria as of the present era? I urge everybody to go very close to God. It's the prime security. Not that the government are not securing people. You can see policemen all over places. No, they are securing. But God is not that foresee the affairs of the security of this country. That is what I know. The security system is very poor. The government have to do more. They have to do more and do more about security. They have to fix, let me say, the rampage in the rank hole concerning the security of this country.
You're welcome back. Well, Nigerians are not happy about the situation of things in terms of security, and they are calling on the government to do more to ensure that their lives and property, they are actually properly secured. A lot of kidnappings, banditry, and of course, we have a special guest who will be telling us what the government should be doing, giving us this perspective. It's not just anybody that we brought, any random person. It's the security consultant, indeed an expert. He is none other than Ambassador Dr. Roy Ohidievie. And I say you're welcome to the special season of The Government and You.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
And you know, I said you're not just one random person, because we know you have a lot of certification in terms of security affairs, in terms of diplomacy and all that. So we'd like to hear from you. We want to glean into your experience, your wisdom in telling us, first of all, let's just start with your general reactions to the things happening in Nigeria's political space, especially in terms of politics. Security, are we playing politics with security? Is the government doing what the government should be doing? And I'm not going to stop because I know that when you start talking, you're just going to go on. So your general reaction, and are we playing politics with security?
Well, you see, so many of us are skeptical talking. You know, I was just closing meetings with the Honorable Minister of Defense. We are in the Ministry of Finance. We are closing meetings. Yesterday, I spoke to some persons to Kaduna, Abuja, and you get the general feeling that we are not concerned with control, we are not concerned with stability, we are not concerned with economic viability. You know, we are not concerned with the general consensus that should put the country at a trajectory where everybody would like to come to Nigeria, like to do business in Nigeria, tourism. Where did all those things go to? You know, initially, you know about the Nigerian space. People during Christmas, you see a lot of expatriates. They come to Nigeria. They want to see the Egungun festival. They want to go to one river somewhere. They say the fishes have human face. They want to come to Nigeria to see the Olumo Rock. Some say they are coming to Nigeria to see where the hot water and the cold water meet. You know, so many things that we're showcasing in tourism. What happened? You know, then you see so many people also want to come to Nigeria to learn how our sportsmanship could be intimidating the whole world. Why is it that we have good athletes, good footballers, boxing? What happened? You know, so many things that we were using to attract global attention. You know, then so many people wanted to know how our academic sector was, where people were getting bursaries in school. Nigerian students, when they write international exams, they are the topmost. You know, when they go for international contests, debates, yes, they are the topmost. You know, our medical students were making excellent drives into global medicine and the space professionalism. Our engineering students, you know, we had people that schooled in Nigeria that are making aeronautic breakwaves in the world. So the whole world wants to know how come they run academics that way. You know, our security agencies, they go to peacekeeping missions, they come back with awards, accolades. You know, the policemen, when they go out for peacekeeping also, they come back with awards. They have honoraries. You know, so where is the challenge? What happens when the thing drops down in our space? Who are those responsible for the organization of our spaces? So you see a governor coming on board, a president, senator, all these people coming on board. You ask them, what are you going to do? They say, I'll give you better security. I'll give you power. I'll give you good roads. I'll give you medical. Hello? That is wrong. If you read those manifestos, you will see that it's an amiss. Now, you don't give me security. No. You ensure that you play your role as a continuity so that the institutions that deliver security will not be distracted. You play your role. You make sure deliverables are given to them. You make sure penalties for defaults are taken over. You make sure the training meets the global dynamics of change in insecurity. You make sure recruitment is based on the balance of the ethnicity, religious, and the north-south divides of the country. You make sure promotion is per the institutions laid down rules and regulation. In the police, in the military, yes, everything. You make sure what you met has a continuity. You make sure. So if you say you give us security, then we are beggarly. Then you are the master. We are the servants. You are the servants, and we are the master. So those were the cracks that began to come in. You know, those were the areas that the people that want to go into power began to use to manipulate the people. So you will make sure that before I get a contract as a contractor, I must see you. So you make sure before I win a case, I must see you. How? You must make sure the judiciary gets constrained to the point where you can decide some things. You must make sure before I get good health care, I must see somebody that will help me travel me out of the country because it's no more available here. So once you begin to see all of those things, then you now ask, who puts people into power? In primary schools, in secondary schools, they will tell you, this is your godmother, this is your school mother, this is your school father. You know? And you are in the Boy Scouts, you are in the Man of War, you are being trained how to respect constitutions, rules and regulations. You are part of the law. You are one of those that will say, it's break time is over. They will ask these Boy Scouts and the Man of War children to go out and drive everybody into their classes. You know, so they were the authority. So when you grow up and graduate, primary school, secondary school, you are entering university, you are organized, you are comported, you are institutionalized. And you have this mindset that you wore uniform. So you can relate with uniform people. Give them information, interact with them, let them use you to generate intelligence. You think you are one of them. You respect it because you have worn uniform before. But we had to collapse those things. How? Because certain people needed to have control. And we started our democracy with violence. We started with political terrorism. And because we were fighting the military to regain our own democracy, our democratic rule, we fought with the military. So we were used to all those violent agitations, gathering of people to become your armies and all that. So when the military was encompassed, especially by United Nations coming to say, coup d'etat is no more popular, this XYZ is no more popular, we must go back to democratic government. ECOWAS became ECOMOG, fighting troops, you know, and we had all this UN to intervene, ECOMOG to intervene if anybody takes over a country's democracy. So the military were finding it difficult, no global sympathy, they were ready now to hand over. Now, the civilians they handed over to were those that were fighting for the democracy. And they were fighting beyond constitutionalized channels. They had to create anarchy. So we learned to create anarchy, to immediately abuse the confidence of people in an instituted government.
So, you know, you mentioned the fact that children from school, from primary school up to secondary, tertiary institutions, they've already gotten used to the uniforms by joining societies or clubs like the Boy Scout, the Man of War, and so when they see law enforcement agents out there in uniforms, they can respect them. They can also help in their intelligence gathering. Can you shed more light on that?
Yeah, you know, so when you have these children growing up like that, you are presenting to them right examples. You are helping them to see that the uniform people they see outside, the police, the military, they have commensurate relationship with you. Keeping to law, respecting law-abiding citizens, helping law-abiding citizens to enjoy a stable environment. Going against violators, reporting violations, getting the right agency to attack the kind of violations you detect, you know, on popular activities by cultists and all that. So definitely there were cult groups. They were stubborn and lawless children in school that we climb on top of the table and tell the teacher you can't do anything, that we throw bottles, that we fight, that we pull their shirts and not button it, and the senior prefect is talking, they are fighting with. No, they were that group, but they were unpopular. Nobody wants to join that group. They were not a model to anybody. And if you were part of that group, people don't want to be found to be your friend. You know, so people want to be found to be the guy that will speak in debate. People want to be found to be the friend to the prefect. Yeah. People want to be found to be the one that is a friend to the guy that is good in mathematics. You know, Daddy, this is my friend. He comes first in physics. You know, those are the kind of people you want to introduce. You want people to see you with. When we took over politics, democracy, we had to begin to destabilize institutions by ourselves because we want to create relevance. So if there is anarchy, we need to weaponize anarchy to create anarchy. Then somebody will call you. Then you will call the boys and say, stand down. Then everywhere will now be. So if you go to the north, you will see somebody, not even this era, I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago, when we intentionally started all these things.
So when you talk about intentionally creating anarchy and weaponizing terrorists as far back as 30 years ago, 20 years ago, give us a picture, because what we are seeing now playing out in the society seems to be a replay of what happened those 20, 30 years ago, because now we have people going to negotiate on behalf of the government with bandits, and the categorization of bandits, terrorists, insurgents, it's something that we are even wondering about. Why categorize them? They are all criminals. Call them all criminals, and don't start making excuses for them. So when you're talking about far back as then, give us a picture and let's marry it with the present and see if we can get a solution.
Every country has politics as a subject in the university. It's called political science. Yes. You know, conflict resolution is attached. International relations most times is attached. Yeah. Now, diplomacy, thank you, is attached. You know, all of those kind of studies, if you look at it very well, there are processes to buy into people's favor, to vote you in as a mayor, a councillor, a governor, whatever you want to come into, to serve. That posture of servitude must be recognized in whatever you are going for. You are going to serve. You know, so in all of these studies, people that were in those fields were the ones that would ordinarily be vying for positions. I read political science. I want to be in politics. I read diplomacy. I read international relations. So I can be an ambassador. I can be talking to different countries for my people, for my country. So I'm learning this thing so they will not intimidate us. They will not use us as pawns. We will not be Western world pawns, slavery, and all that. We will articulate our space. We will put our mineral resources in the right perspectives for export and bring in revenue to our country. These were the things that were burning and hot. Once we began to look at using politics as terrorism, terrorism is activities that create maximum fear in another group, in an opponent. That's just the layman explanation. Yeah. Terrorism, you must create fear. So you come, you kill 2 million people. Who are those people? This is us. You show your flag, you show your name. Oh, those guys are a terrorist group. You know, so they have sympathizers. Some of the people that are killed, and they go behind and begin to fund them or create channels for them to be funded. Now, if you see how cultism now waved into our schools, and Boy Scouts and Girls Guide waved out.
Very, very well.
Out.
Very, very well.
So
I would like to get more insight on that, because this is actually very key. The truth of the matter is that we really don't hear so much about Boy Scouts and man o' war, especially in the primary and the secondary schools anymore. But like you said, we're hearing now cultism. We're hearing cultism in primary schools. A 12-year-old was killed the other day over an issue related to cultism. But we want to go on a quick break, and when we come back, the ambassador will be telling us more about our security situation and how to actually bring solutions, prefer healthy solutions that we hope the government would actually listen to and take heed of. You're welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Government and You, and we've been talking about security, the security situation in Nigeria that Nigerians are not happy about, and we have a distinguished guest, Ambassador Dr. Roy Ohidievere, a security consultant and expert in different fields. We've been talking about the history, how it came about, and he was also concerned about the issue of not having so much society or clubs in the schools like the Man o' War and Boy Scouts, which were actually groups putting children in the right path. But instead, now we're hearing about cultism, and this actually contributes a lot to the security situation that we are seeing in the country now. And from that foundation that you laid, I think that is actually a very good point to start from and say this is where our problem as a nation actually started from. Because when you mentioned at the beginning that we see security personnel, we engage with them, we talk to them. That's when the culture of police is your friend was actually there in the air. And children could actually say, see, I saw somebody, anybody could go and give information. But now we don't have things like that. I've not heard about Man o' War in the schools that my children have been attending. I've not heard about the Boy Scouts of recent. So like you said, are they being phased out? And are we getting cultism instead?
Yeah, so, so we are getting close. Now, the politicians who took over from the military saw the military as an appropriate ally. But they needed to coin the military under their beck and call. Because these are the institutions that have oppressed, taken over government. But nationwide, globally, in Africa, in the Western world, coup d'etat began to decline. Through international exchanges on the UN, the ECOWAS, AU, people were going against school so that you will not see any military that will successfully. So Nigeria got it done. So you needed to get into the military. So it is to destabilize the cohesiveness of the military. And they succeeded. How? They began to look for retired generals and bring them on board so that they can intimidate the institution. That was there, that was going on. Then the politicians themselves saw that these people that read democracy, that read political science, and all of these other things we read, were the intellectual angle in politics. But they needed to weaponize violence. So what did they need to do? They needed to grow hooligans. People that will snatch ballot boxes. So the political intelligentsia was there to write good manifestos for them, was there to articulate the press, so become spokesperson, go and be talking. Meanwhile, something else is happening. Hooliganism, weaponizing violence, using political terrorism. So they were doing all of this against the other party. So when you are becoming mastery of it, you are the one that can pick up your phone and call, and 200,000 hooligans will be here to create mayhem immediately. Then you become a boss. When you can now release those people from the police if they are arrested, and you can even bring in the army to intimidate the police and take over the space, you become a godfather. So every politician was eyeing that. So anybody that was there, they call you a kingmaker. So you are now the one a candidate will come to first, instead of going to the people first. Instead of me to go to the people and say, look at me, I can give you better service as a governor, I first of all go to the godfather, because he has the hooligans, he has the police, he has the strings to say who is the chief of army staff, he can string into the judiciary, he can string anywhere. So it becomes the godfather. So those kind of people started to look at what is for me. So oil wells are there, choice and juicy contracts are there from the federal government, procurement for the military, the police. These are things they could manipulate to settle themselves. So settle yourself, you have to take over those spaces of procurement and all that. But you still needed to control activities of the institutions. So dilapidation. The military need to go cap in hand to ask for statutory allocations to motivate troops to get right equipment, to increase their capability to meet all the dynamics of weaponry and all that in criminality. The police knows that if he arrests Mr. A phone call will come in to say Mr. A is my boy. So they lost touch with appropriate intelligence gathering skills, the need to investigate properly, generate evidence. Because when I get to court, it's frustrated. You know, so once it's frustrated in court, the criminal walks around the street tomorrow and calls you. Oh, now I tell you, say I go come out. Oh yeah, come, let me give you something. And he gives the DPO something, true. And the DPO now sees that, okay, this guy is connected to the high and mighties. So
what do I do?
People that were not appropriately in the intelligentsia, people that were not appropriately patriotic to increase dynamics that will create stability, economic viability, and make Nigeria a contest in the international world, became those taking decisions. You know, so you have one now in Lagos, is going to be an Oba. You know, you have some in the National Assembly, you have some in being a governor, you know. So these are the kind of armies being grown to take over our democratic space, decision-making spaces. So people that want to appropriately do business in Nigeria, businessmen in Nigeria that have discovered ideas, that want to articulate opportunities to grow their businesses, help the population, are constrained. Why? They need them to go and be servitude to some of these goons seated everywhere. So the challenge increased. The army is intimidated, the police is intimidated, the EFCC case file must pass through some places to be sure that those being investigated are not useful to those in power. So if they are useful to those in power, nothing EFCC can do.
So exactly what you're saying now is that indeed we are playing politics with our security in Nigeria, and that it's the playing, in quotes, of politics with our security that has brought our nation to where it is at the moment. Because when you talk about sponsoring anarchy, sponsoring terrorism, that's a situation where you now have someone going on behalf of the government to negotiate with this class of people called bandits. someone going to negotiate with the other people and say, no, these people are different from those in the Niger Delta. What happened in the Niger Delta is different from what's happening in the north, and we have so much confusion. At the end of the day, no one is safe. So where was the way forward?
So when we got to this stage, where in the last 5-6 years, you now see criminality becoming a voice. When you say criminality becoming a voice, it means that as a bandit, as a terrorist, as a kidnapper, as a ritualist, I am now entangled with the manipulated spaces of governance. So Wadume was arrested by policemen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, being transported from point of arrest to point of incarceration, maybe continuation of investigation, passing through the criminal justice system, and all other things that needs to be done, to penalty, death, life imprisonment, or whatever the judiciary will decide. But military men stopped the policemen on the road. There was exchange of fire. Some military died, some police died.
Yes.
Wadume did not die. He is in detention till date. There was court martial set up to see what happened, loss of communication, abuse of your space, your institution, whatever happened. Joint committee, monies were voted in. My tax, your tax, was voted in. Wadume is still being fed by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The police and the army people that contested the issue have not been come out. The matter has not come out. So Evans' case is also there. So people start seeing that, oh, even if I'm a kidnapper, depends on who sends me, who I'm kidnapping, who I'm using kidnapping to intimidate. And if I do my free kidnapping, who are those that I give returns to? Then the armies of boys I'm grooming, who calls me to say, send me 20, 30 people. I want to burn down XYZ rally. We just saw the people that were arrested transiting from one place in the east to the other with guns. The military arrested them, right? Yes. Now, there's a media trial going on now. They are being paraded on media with their weapons, right? So that is what the security agencies do now.
It is not nice to play politics with security, but we see where it started from. It started from the leaders that we ourselves chose. Remember, we say we the people. That is the beginning of our constitution. The first phrase you see, the preamble, we the people. So you have a choice to bring in the leaders that will steer the ship aright. And that is why we are here telling you, you are indeed the government. Well, it's actually time for us to draw the curtain on this week's episode of The Government and You. And we are saying you have to do your part. You have to play your role. Choose the right leaders. Be aware. Be involved. When it's time to speak up because your voice indeed matters. And we are saying a very big thank you to you, Ambassador Dr. Roy, for making our time to be with us this week on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we would like to see you some other time. Well, I would like to say God bless you, and if you have questions for us, if you want to give your life to Christ, we have our information displaying on the screen now for you to use, and call us, reach out to us. God bless you.